AI slop may be one of the laziest criticisms in the entire AI debate. And before anyone gets angry, let me be clear. There is plenty of terrible AI-generated work, bad writing, inconsistent characters, plastic-looking performances, images created with little thought beyond typing a few words and pressing a button. Some of it deserves criticism, but simply calling something AI slop doesn't tell me what's actually wrong with it. It doesn't explain the work. It condemns the tool before we've even discussed what someone did with it. And if that sounds familiar, it should, because we've heard versions of this argument every time a new technology has made it easier for more people to create. I've been working in film, video, animation, and graphics since the early 1980s, and I remember when doing professional graphics on a Macintosh was not considered real professional work by some people. The serious work was supposedly being done on larger, more expensive systems most independent creators could never afford. Then came Photoshop, digital, non-linear editing, desktop compositing, affordable digital cameras, computer-generated imagery, and every one of these technologies lowered the barrier to entry. Suddenly, more people could create graphics, edit video, make visual effects, and attempt to make films. That did not mean all of them suddenly became good at it. Photoshop did not automatically make someone a designer. A digital camera did not make someone a cinematographer. Owning editing software did not make someone an editor. And having access to AI does not automatically make someone a filmmaker. The technology may give you access to the tools. It does not give you taste. It does not give you judgment. And it certainly does not give you a point of view. And that is where the comparison to AI becomes more interesting. Whenever the barrier to creation comes down, two things happen. We get interesting work from people who previously never had access, and we get an enormous amount of bad work from people who are still learning, or who simply don't care. That is not unique to AI. YouTube, self-publishing, and smartphones opened creative doors to millions. None guaranteed good work. Access creates opportunity. It does not guarantee quality. AI is simply accelerating that familiar pattern. It allows people to generate images before they understand composition, create shots before they understand cinematography, build performances before they understand character, and make films before they understand storytelling. Naturally, a lot of that work is going to be terrible. But the problem is not merely that AI was used. The person using it may not yet understand the craft, or may not have put in the effort the work required. If an AI film has bad writing, say the writing is bad. If the characters change appearance from shot to shot, criticize the visual continuity. If the images feel generic, talk about the lack of art direction. If the performances feel emotionally empty, explain why. If the filmmaker used someone's face or voice without permission, discuss consent. If the training material raises ethical concerns, discuss those concerns directly. And if someone generated the first result the machine produced and uploaded it without refinement, absolutely call that lazy. Those are meaningful criticisms, and once you separate them, the weakness of the label becomes much clearer. AI slop collapses all of them into one insult. It treats technical failure, artistic failure, ethical concerns, and simple inexperience as though they are the same thing. They're not. A poorly made experiment from a beginning filmmaker is not the same as a company flooding a platform with disposable content. A visually impressive film with an empty story is not the same as an unethical impersonation of a performer. And a creator struggling with a new technology is not automatically a fraud. If we care about improving the work, our criticism needs to be more precise than the work we're criticizing. But there is a larger danger when AI slop becomes the default response to anything created with these tools. Once we assume the technology makes the work illegitimate, we are no longer judging what is on the screen. We're performing a purity test. Was AI involved? Then the work doesn't count. That may feel satisfying right now, but it is not going to survive contact with the way production technology actually evolves. AI will not remain a separate machine sitting outside the filmmaking process. It will become part of editing software. Visual effects, pre-visualization, animation, sound design, dubbing, color correction, production planning. Eventually, filmmakers may use AI without identifying every moment where it entered the pipeline. At that point, where exactly does the slop begin? Is an entire film disqualified because AI helped remove an object from one shot? What if it helped restore damaged audio? What if it generated a temporary background, later rebuilt by an artist? What if an independent filmmaker used it to create a scene they could never otherwise afford? The answers are not always simple. That's precisely why the conversation needs more thought than a two-word dismissal. None of this means AI-generated work should be protected from criticism. Quite the opposite. The easier these tools become, the higher our standards should become. The novelty of generating an image is already disappearing. Soon, nobody will care that you managed to create a cinematic-looking shot. They will care whether the shot belongs in the story, whether it communicates something, whether it creates an emotion, whether it reveals a perspective we haven't seen before. The future will not belong to whoever can generate the greatest number of images. It will belong to the people who know which images matter. That requires selection, revision, restraint, direction, and sometimes the most important creative decision will be throwing away the impressive AI-generated shot because it does not serve the film. That is filmmaking, not pressing the button, knowing why the button should or should not be pressed. The point is not that AI-generated work deserves less criticism. It's that the criticism should tell us what actually failed. We've always had bad movies, bad television, bad visual effects, bad writing, bad commercial art. AI did not invent mediocrity. It simply made mediocrity faster, cheaper, and much easier to distribute. But it may also allow a filmmaker with limited resources and a remarkable idea to create something we would never otherwise have seen. The challenge is learning to tell the difference. So, when you see an AI-generated film you don't like, don't just call it slop. Tell me what failed. Was it the writing, the visuals, the performance, the ethics, or did you decide it had no value the moment you learned which tool was used? Because the real test should not be whether artificial intelligence was involved. The real test should be whether the filmmaker had anything worth saying, and whether the film found a compelling way to say it. I'm Marc Kimball. This is the Politics of AI Filmmaking.